From beautiful North Hollywood, California, it's Flashback Tonight, starring Delious. Today, we're turning up the heat with 90s hitmakers Jeff Timmons and Justin Jeffrey of 98 Degrees.
I'm losing my mind when you're not around. It's all because of you. What's up? Welcome to Flashback Tonight 2020 COVID edition. We have been forced to ditch our in-studio audience in favor of one-on-one interviews with our favorite celebrities from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Before we get started, if you're watching right now, go ahead and hit subscribe down below. We guarantee you've got some great nostalgia on this channel that you don't want to miss. Like these next guys that are coming to the forefront right now, Jeffrey Timmons and Justin Jeffrey from 98 Degrees. What's up, Jeff? Let me add Jeff to this. There is Jeff. Yeah, and where is Justin? Why can't I see this? And Justin is hidden in the corners of course, everything that could go the way it could go would go that way. There he is. Hold on, I had to, Justin, I'm going to delete this other one you have here. Kick from the studio. Bam. And now
he's known for this, Delious. He's known for this. There are two feeds. Any Zoom call we do, any interview now, there are two of Justin. There's a smaller one. There's one you can hear. There are different angles. I mean, this is what this guy does.
What is that about? What is it about? Why were there two feeds? I'm like, okay. And then the feed with his face was at the bottom where my cursor couldn't get to. I'm like, what's going on? It won't even go down there. But we got him.
Questions we've been asking throughout the duration of this COVID epidemic. How do we get Justin squared away on all this technological stuff that we're working with?
So Justin, tell us what's the deal with the two cameras? Here. What's the deal with the two cameras, Justin?
Well, I tried to log on with my computer, and then you guys said you couldn't see me, so I tried it on the phone, and I guess the phone worked, and for some reason the computer didn't. So technical difficulties on my end. Sorry. But
Delious, am I wrong in saying it's worth the wait, isn't it?
It's worth the wait because we've got the 98 Degrees boys on Flashback Tonight. Finally, I've only been asking since your first Christmas tour, whenever that was, 2, 3, 4, 15 years ago. All right, maybe not 15 years ago. We wasn't around there. But I've been asking you guys to be on the show forever. And now we finally got at least two of you guys on the show, and I've got a ton of questions for you.
All right.
For one, that video we just saw, that Because of You video, I know I'm kind of like afraid of heights, and you guys were like on the top of the Golden Gate Bridge. Anybody afraid of heights here?
Yeah, I think the video shows that. Go ahead, Jeff.
I loved every minute. In fact, I was ready to jump off of it, and what is it called? Those diving, not the parkour stuff. What are the dive with the glide, not the gliding thing with the wings and all that parasail?
Oh, the little bat dive or whatever.
That's right. I was deathly afraid. You could tell in the video. I mean, when he told us we were going to be on top of the Golden Gate Bridge, and a lot of people ask us nowadays if we were really up there because of all the capabilities with CGI. I mean. Hence that amazing living room that you have in the background there. I mean, that beautiful environment. Yeah, so we were afraid, and it was a really interesting experience in that you went up into this small, you have the towers. You went into this small tower, and it felt like an eternity getting up to the top, and then we thought, oh, we're going to have harnesses, and no, you literally can, the wind can gust, and you can blow off the side, But I think the adrenaline that we were all experiencing from the rush of us doing, that kind of a video at that level it sort of superseded any nervousness we might have had at that particular time. So yes, I was definitely afraid. These guys were bigger troopers than I was for sure.
Pretty windy up there.
If you watch the video closely, you can see Jeff has a death grip in several shots, and I think it was scary for all of us though. I mean, I was actually, when I first looked down at the bottom of the bridge, that was high enough, and I got a little bit of fright, but then I just managed to get my head together. But it was about at least 40-mile-per-hour winds and a helicopter whizzing by us, and it was pretty intense, but it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so it was a helicopter. So it wasn't a drone or anything. There was a helicopter up above you.
Those didn't exist at that time. Yeah, and if you did, I mean, I think that there was one special, and I can't remember what it was on, whether it was E or MTV or whatever. And it was like most expensive video shots, like not videos combined, but shots. And it was that helicopter shot sort of rotating around. I mean, you know, and they didn't really have a very strong capability for playback, which is, for those that haven't shot a video before, it's playing the song and you lip sync to the song while it's going on. And up there with the winds and all that stuff, you know, we couldn't really hear it. So we were basically kind of, you know, tapping the tempo and sort of playing along with it. And then they'd be like, all right, helicopter's coming. And so all that would have to be coordinated at once. And it was much more complicated than how you can do it now. I mean, we could probably recreate the shot here in the house, right? I mean, it'd be pretty close anyway, or get a drone to fly around for, you know, have some guy, hire some guy for $1,000 that flies a drone up there and it has a higher quality camera instead of literally a helicopter sort of hovering around. So really interesting experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go back to the 98 Degrees career. So if somebody was from another planet and didn't know who 98 Degrees was, what would you describe the 98 Degrees sound as?
Well, I think, you know, like you all had, you guys were known for your harmonies, and, you know, we definitely always focused on the harmonies. You know, we weren't a group that got together and was like dancing around or whatever. We came from the old school era, singing barbershop and doo-wop. And then, you know, when Boyz II Men and you all came and brought the acapella sound back around, that really inspired us to do what we do today. And I think, you know, also, you know, we love soul music, so we try to put passion and soul in our music as well. So those are the kind of the key ingredients: passion, soul, and harmonies.
So you guys come from Ohio, right? And you end up on Motown Records in Los Angeles. How did that come about? I know you probably told this story a million times. I just haven't heard it myself. But did you guys know each other in high school? How did you guys meet each other?
Well, Nick and Drew and I went to high school together, but we met Jeff through a mutual friend who was already out in LA, and I'll let him go from there.
Yeah. So I started with some other guys, and they were good singers and really, really cool guys, friends of mine from high school, and in college we kind of just started the group on a whim, really, and then went to LA to pursue it because they didn't have all this stuff. They didn't have the internet, and you couldn't. You know, they didn't have shows like Idol or The Voice or The Four or any of that stuff. So you had to go where the action was. And to us, we thought, you know, Hollywood is where it's at. I mean, of course, New York and Nashville a little bit. And now there are certain hot spots for the industry everywhere. But back then it was like LA or bust, man. So we drove to California, and those guys sort of got homesick. And I really, really wanted to see it through. And there was a guy, like Justin mentioned, that was a mutual friend of theirs that I had met and was put in touch with out there. We lost Justin.
Yeah, I see.
You know, he really wasn't the greatest singer in the world, but he knew that Nick was kind of contemplating doing something like this as well as Justin, and they were in a band together in Ohio. And he played me a tape, an audio tape, not an MP3 or anything like that. Like Nick singing in this bar, and they were in a band called The Avenues, and I just was blown away, and, you know, talked to Nick on the phone, and I was like, look, I've got this going on and all this other stuff. And then, you know, he came out and joined me a couple of months later in LA, and then suggested we bring Justin out. And then the guy that introduced me to Nick, he ended up dropping out to go pursue other endeavors. He wanted to be an actor and whatnot. And then we brought Drew out there, and then the rest is history. I mean, we snuck backstage at a Boyz II Men concert. Just, you know, we really modeled ourselves after Boyz II Men. We loved them. And, you know, you guys were emerging at the time, and really that sort of solidified our belief and idea that we could do this. And it was in vogue to have a 4-part harmony group again. And, you know, we went to a Boyz II Men concert, snuck backstage, got in touch with some folks there. You know, and then put together a demo, and then got signed to Motown. That was our dream label. And Motown was sort of going through a transition at the time, and people were shying away from that for a number of reasons. And I think they, you know, shopped us a few different places, but ultimately Motown was the one that gave us our opportunity. And Andre Harrell, who sadly passed in this last year, really saw something in us and thought that we had what it takes to be a part of that family, which is an honor, as you know. I mean, so many idols, from Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, Four Tops, even Michael Jackson was there for a minute. I mean, it's just the historical. Smokey Robinson was the first guy that shook our hand and welcomed us to the family at some big event. So it was a dream for us to be a part of such a historical label and such a great legacy.
Wow, dude. Yeah. And it worked because you guys were very talented and you hit right out the box with your first single. Actually, you guys had a ton of hits. You had Invisible Man, Because of You, I Do, Una Noche, Hardest Thing, all out the gate. Was this like a surprise to you guys? Were you guys like, this is too good to be true? Or did you expect this to happen?
Well, we were, of course, hopeful and optimistic, but it actually, we had our first hit with Invisible Man, but then Andre Harrell had left the label, so there was nobody really in charge of deciding what the second single would be. So we were in a limbo for a little bit. And fortunately for us, George Jackson came in as the new president, and he believed in us and gave us a chance to do another album. And, we were fortunate that things just kept rolling along with Because of You, and then The Hardest Thing, and then I Do. And then, everything just went from there. So, yeah, it was definitely a dream come true, but I don't think you can ever really, you can hope for that kind of thing, but you can't really expect it.
Absolutely. And fun fact for all the fans out there, and Jeff knows this or so, Invisible Man, your single Invisible Man, was actually an All for One song that we didn't take. And when I say we, I don't mean the band, meant our management, who was pulling the strings at the time, somehow did not recognize that was a big hit that Sean and Dane had wrote. And I was like, oh man, when I found out that we had passed on Invisible Man, I was like, for real?
Real? I think it would be a good idea. And that's a lesson about protocol. It might be a good idea to play the song for the actual artist so they can make that sort of decision. But look, another man's trash is one man's treasure. We're happy that you guys passed on the song because it really did put us on the map. And you mentioned Sean and Dane, who were just amazingly talented songwriters and producers. And it was a joy to work on a few songs with them. And you guys also had that experience, not to turn the tables on the interview, but you guys worked with them on a number of songs as well, right?
Yep.
And a couple of hits too, right?
Yeah. Of course, I can't think of my own hits right now, but yeah, we had isn't that sad? I'm so invested into the 98 Degrees interview. I can't remember my Smile Like Mona Lisa, which was a big hit overseas and in Asia and in Asia and in Africa. Was Sean and Dane hit that came afterwards. Sorry, Sean and Dane. Am I frozen? There we go. So you guys had those big hits. Then you were touring the world, just killing it in the game, and then you guys took a break for a while. Why did you take a break? And then were you nervous about coming back almost a decade later that the fans would not still be there, or were you knowledgeable that the fans would still be there?
Well, I think everything was so intense for us, and Jeff had kids and a family, and we were all kind of at the point where we had been so committed for the past like 5 or 6 years just being solely focused on the group. We worked together, lived together, and that was great. We really, felt like it was us against the world. But I think we got to a point in our lives where, we just needed to have other stuff going on in our lives, and people wanted to, get married and raise a family, and so I think we just needed to take some time and kind of follow our other passions and dreams. And I don't think any of us thought the hiatus would last as long as it did, but then we never really knew how the reception would be from the fans. So, again, you can be cautiously optimistic, but you never know for sure, and you can't take things for granted. So I think we're really appreciative to have this second chance and to be able to do what we love to do. And so we're just grateful and trying to have, continue to have fun doing what we're doing. And we're having more fun than we have ever had in the past. So it's great.
Good. And whose idea was it to get back together? Who made the phone call and said, hey guys, I think it's time for us to do this, get back together and do this again?
I don't even remember how that came about. Do you?
I think it kind of, I think to me, I was like, always like, we got to get this back together. It was such an incredible, magical thing. but it was, just everybody had different things going on in their lives. And the more, time went by, the harder it was kind of to just get everybody's schedule together. But I think everybody, really kind of missed what we did and missed that magic on some level. And so it's just a question of how and when pulling things back together. And so, I think we all kind of had that desire. And fortunately for us, the timing eventually worked out, and the response from the fans was great. So we were able to keep doing it to this day.
I remember I was stripping at the time, so it was a really difficult choice for me to make, be in the Chippendales or get back with my group. And so I really measured out the pros and cons, made a list, and it was strip every night or go back on the road with my group. And I wasn't stripping, I was just hosting. But, no, it's a choice too. I mean, after a while, and so much time had passed, and Justin's exactly right. You never know when how it is as an artist, or you never know if the fans are still going to be there. So I think that our apprehension was, and music changed and the industry changed, and how you could get out there was completely different than we knew how to promote. So I think all those sort of insecurities played into maybe the delay in us getting back any sooner. And for us, it was wonderful having the fans, still be there years later. And, we took the temperature. We got invited to do this thing called Mixtape, which was a big festival.
Yeah.
In Hershey. And we kind of looked at each other and said, hey, you know what? If this goes well, then, let's see what happens next. And if it doesn't, well, then we can just go back to all the other things that we were involved with. And fortunately for us, it was just a great experience. It was like riding a bike. It's like we never left. The fans were more excited and exuberant than ever. And so we were like, okay, this is super fun. Oh yeah, the fun part. Yeah, that's supposed to be involved with this whole thing.
The fun part.
And what's really great, like Justin said earlier, is it has been a blast the whole time, where it was completely stressful the first time around. And certainly we see the blessing and how lucky we were to have that ride the first time around. This time around, it's been all the fun. We're just enjoying, our fans, and to be able to perform, and no pressure and all that stuff. It's been a real joy for us.
Yeah, man, I saw you guys on the Mixtape tour. Thank you for the tickets, by the way. Appreciate it. And I saw you, I haven't seen the Christmas tour, but I've seen clips of the Christmas tour. And I must say, and correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like you guys are having much more fun on the Christmas tour. It just looks like a bag of fun. Like you guys are smiling and dancing and joking around with each other. Is the Christmas show much more fun than a regular 90 Degree show, or?
Honestly, I think it's just that the more, since we got back together, we've just been having more and more fun with it. I think we've kind of found our comfortable place. And, I think, yeah, the more we've been doing it, the more fun we've been having. And I think that's been part of our success, because people can tell that we're legitimately having a great time, and it makes it easier for them to have fun too. So, and especially in such, dark times right now, we look forward to getting back to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you guys said earlier that you guys used to live together. That would be craziness. I couldn't imagine. So how did that go over for guys in one house, I'm assuming, touring together, living together? Justin, what's your pet peeve of Jeff? I know you got to have one. What do you hate about Jeff's after living?
How long is this show supposed to last? I mean, you have to do the Cliff Notes version of it.
Go ahead, Justin.
No, I mean, honestly, we were lucky to really all, just be so passionate about what we were doing, that we were just so committed to it that, even back then, while we felt like the weight of the world on our shoulders, we still, especially in the early days, were really just having fun, just getting out there and do it. We were crammed into a tiny 2-bedroom apartment at first, and Jeff and I somehow ended up with the teeniest rooms every time. But you know what? We were just thankful to be doing what we were doing, and for every opportunity that we got along the way. And
Justin.
So, I look back at those times, and even though it was tough at times, it was a lot of fun.
All right, Justin, that was the Entertainment Tonight answer. Okay. We're looking for the truth on Flashback tonight. You got no pet peeves of Justin or of Jeff. I've known Jeff for a while, and I could probably name 15 pet peeves. You've lived with him. I mean, what is this? He pee on the seat? Does he snore when he sleeps? It's got to be something.
Well, just pretty intense. Like, he's a high energy guy, and he's always going. So he's, and I'm much more laid back. So I think we were well suited in that regard. But when you live and work with people day in and day out, and especially I'm sure you guys experienced it as well. Like, it's just a ton of work, early on, and you're grinding through, and at the time that before things really get moving, there's not a lot of glamour at all, and so that was tough. And I don't know, it was just he's an intense guy, but I can't say anything really negative, because fortunately he's got a great sense of humor, so we ended up laughing a lot, and just kind of just made the best of even the worst of times.
All right, Jeff, let's see if you're as cordial. What is your pet peeve of Justin?
Exactly right. And when you're younger and you're look, as well as everybody on the call, Justin, myself, and people that are really big fans of ours, they invest in the groups and know about the guys individually and their personalities. And, look, when you start a group like this, or you become a member of the group like this, of course, there's the love of the music, but you also have something about that thing in your brain and your ego that you want to be famous, right? So, and especially when you're a young guy and that frontal lobe isn't completely developed yet. So a lot, you're self-absorbed and self-centered, and you make more things about yourself than you probably should be. And certainly, I mean, I can look back and go, wow, that behavior of mine, I mean, I got to make sure my kids sort of monitor and are a little bit aware of everybody else around them. So I'm sure there are a number of things that annoyed Justin about me. Look, our personalities, as far as like the motor we run, are completely different. Justin's in first gear, chilling, relaxed, kind of processes stuff. And I'm in, already in gear 4 or 5 as it is. It's just the way my body chemistry is. So we couldn't be more different in that respect. But one thing that's for certain is our goals were the same, and we share the same philosophy on a lot of stuff with regards to politics and life and how you treat other people and sort of those things. So we have that in common. Certainly, can relate as far as like screwing around, sense of humor, and all that stuff, and trying to make lemonade out of lemons and be light. So I can't think of anything that annoyed me about Justin. Other than we're on different wavelengths, just the way our energy is, but it didn't really annoy me. It was just different. In fact, I actually liked it because, I can take a break from my own brain and go, oh, wow, this guy's relaxed. How does he do it? Let me talk to him a little bit. Let me motor it down a little bit. So I really enjoyed it. And Justin and I were always paired up. So yeah, and it wasn't always by design. I mean, it was the flip of a coin or drawing a straw. But, I couldn't find a better member, and I love all the guys. We love each other. You know how it goes. We're like brothers. I couldn't find a better counterbalance to my wound up type A ass than having Justin be my counterpart as a roommate. So
I can say that. I can actually see that. Of all the people in 98 Degrees, I feel like I know the least about Justin. Justin, you seem like the most and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe like anti-Hollywood, or not necessarily about the Hollywood game. Like you still live in Ohio, right? Back in Ohio?
Yeah. I just, when we're doing stuff for the group, and I love doing what we do and making music and performing for our fans. But as far as like the whole, being seen and having all my thoughts, my daily brain farts out there for the world to see and judge. It's just not something I've really been as comfortable with as some of the other guys. But you know what? I mean, I'm grateful to have this opportunity, and I'm working on trying to get better at my social media Hollywood side.
I checked out your social media and what it looks like. What I gathered from what I just saw on like your Facebook page and some things is that you're just that normal guy. Like, you're the superstar. It's like the Miley Cyrus. What was that Miley Cyrus thing that she had? Hannah Montana. You're like the male Hannah Montana, if I could say that. You have like the superstar stage persona. You get on there, perform for millions of people, and then you go back to Ohio, and I see you. Hey, I'm at the karaoke bar with my buddy. We're just karaoke. Hey, I'm running for office. I'm just Justin. You know, you seem normal, and being anti-Hollywood is not necessarily a bad thing. It just seems like you're very much the normal guy's guy. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think, you know, fortunately, one of the things that works for us is that, you know, I think we've all remained pretty down to earth, and, you know, I mean, obviously some of us have been out in the spotlight more, but, you know, I think we're all down to earth and just regular people. And we know that, you know, just because we've been very successful in the music industry, it doesn't make you better than anyone or more important than anyone. And you know, we've just been more fortunate. And so, yeah, I mean, I like to stay involved in the community, and yeah, just, you know, I don't really, I enjoy the support of our fans, but, you know, when I'm really just relaxing, I just want to be treated like everybody else.
Yeah. All right. And then there's you, Jeff. You are totally opposite. You are like one of the hardest working, on the grind persons that I know. You like always have something going on, whether it's Chippendales, like you mentioned earlier, where you're stripping, but not really stripping, but hosting, or you did your Men in the Strip, or you had the E TV show, or the Sure Shot, or just a ton of other things. Actually, yeah, a ton of other things. I'll bring up something else in a minute. But what is it that makes you grind so hard in the industry?
Well, look, Justin alluded to earlier that I had family early on. So, you know, it was almost like literally overnight. I mean, we were on the road, and then all of a sudden I discovered one of the girls that I was seeing was pregnant. And so, you know, coming from that traditional upbringing in Ohio, which were all blue collar workers there. I mean, no matter what you're doing, even white collar workers are grinders where we're from. And so, you know, for me, it was like, okay, getting back to what I said earlier, it's not about yourself anymore. It's not just about your new family with the group. Now you have, you know, these responsibilities of being a dad. So, you know, again, the ups and downs of the business and the unpredictability that goes on with it. You can have tons of hits, and you mentioned a lot of ours, and still, you know, you still got to work. A lot of people don't understand that. There are a lot of hands in those pies, and a lot of people that are taken from that. Certainly, we had a share of that and enjoyed success. But when it comes to something like that, you need to keep going. You know, you need to find new ways to make sure that you can take care of your family. And so that was, you know, after 98 Degrees had ceased performing together, and we didn't have some of the opportunities that I'd become accustomed to straight out of college into superstardom fame that we got to enjoy and experience. I had to figure out a way to hustle and make sure that continued on. And it didn't help that my first marriage didn't last long. And so, you know, that with divorce goes most of your income and your assets. So, you know, it certainly scaled things up for me and had to get back onto the grind. And the way you have to do that in this industry is not living off your old version of yourself. It's finding ways to reinvent, utilizing the network and great relationships, hopefully, that you've created on the way up and maintained them on the way down and then back on the way up. So I'm always trying to find ways that I can take care of my family, make sure that there are other prospects out there and ways that, you know, businesses that you can understand and develop and new relationships. And so that's continued on, even though I've reached a level that I'm very fortunate and comfortable. There's always that fear that you're not going to be able to take care of your responsibilities. So hence, always a new project going on, or, you know, figuring out if this works or that works. I mean, sitting back resting on your laurels isn't something that I know how to do, and that just comes from my upbringing, but also the hustle that we had as a group. I mean, we didn't have the easiest of rides, despite what people might see from their perspective. We definitely had some obstacles, as all groups and entertainers do. We feel like we had some extra ones in there. In adversity that we ended up having to conquer. And the only way to do that was collectively with the four of us. We didn't have a whole extraordinary team that was giving us the best advice on the planet. And there was a lot of dysfunction going on. So, you know, this is a long answer, but that's why I'm sort of programmed the way I am and do things like try different things and try to have success in a lot of different realms.
And Jeff is definitely willing to try different things and have success in different realms. Here's another fun fact for all the fans out there. Jeff, his face is looking like, what are you about to say? Jeff and I were almost on the Amazing Race back in like 2013 or 14 or something like that. We had been sequestered in the hotel. I think they took 12 teams and they brought 13 teams to producers. And the rule is if you go back to your hotel room and you get a phone call, that's usually the phone call saying you've been cut. And so 13 of us went in and we were like, all we got to do is make this last cut. And we're on Amazing Race as the boy banders. And then we got back to the hotel room and the phone rang and neither one of us answered it. We just looked at the phone. Damn. Answered the phone. Hello. You guys are released. I'm like, really? The boy banders from Amazing Race? I think it was rigged though, because the ending thing was in Los Angeles. And I looked at that episode of all the places they went. We totally would have killed. I knew people in all those places I could have called to help us win.
Yeah, well, look, and that was a great experience. But we did all the tasks and all the test runs and all the the quizzes. We aced all that stuff.
Yeah.
The problem with it was our rapport, because what we really lost was we didn't know enough about each other's personal life. We had interacted on the road. We knew each other as entertainers and certainly loved a conversation and have a good vibe as friends. But I didn't know, oh my God, by the way, they start asking us about our relatives. And with that show, they expect you to know everything about, well, at least when we were, now it's changed. It's been so many seasons deeper and into it that you don't really probably have to know your partner in depth like your partners in crime. And we didn't, when it came to the rapport with regards to our personal stuff and history, we flubbed on all those questions. And I remember the female producer going, guys, I'm trying to put you on. You guys don't know anything about each other. We're like, oh, damn. But, hey, I wouldn't mind trying it again, man. We should maybe give it another try. See if we can get on there.
Yeah, we should. We should give them the call up and see if they'll take us on this time. I'm like, come on, man. Amazing Race. I can do that this time. We had time to do it. So, Justin, so let's talk about the group aspects of the concert touring. Justin, you're the bass guy of the group, right? So the bass kind of like rounds out the harmonies and really adds that thickness to the group. What do you do to warm up your voice? Do you do anything? Like the bass guy in our group, when the three of us are warming up, he goes to sleep because I guess his voice gets deeper when he sleeps and then he wakes up. So that's his warm up. What's your warm up, Justin?
I do some of the similar warm-ups that probably most singers do. If you had some training, early on, I was fortunate to go to School for Creative and Performing Arts and, really just, I listen to some of my favorite bass singers, whether it's, from Take Six or, groups like Boyz II Men and really just, or maybe Barry White. But yeah, honestly, like sometimes when you get up, and you're just waking up, that's you just have these little extra low notes that you don't always have. So that's an interesting trick that he does. I'll have to try that sometime.
Yeah, I just think he's lazy, personally, but he says it's his warm up. What about you, Jeff? You ever get nervous going out to sing your show without being properly warmed up, or do you always feel like by the time you take the stage, you're there?
Well, look, I mean, and this is every time. I'm always nervous leading up to the show, and it never changes. It could be in front of 3 people or on a TV show in front of 30 million people. I get the same level of nerves. It doesn't matter. Even 25 years later, I get super nervous. And it's up until like really you hit the stage for the first time and sing your first note that I'm actually going, man, when am I going to be done doing this? I don't want to do it anymore. It makes me nervous. And then you get the reward of the preparation and, of course, what the fans do when they respond with all the adulation and excitement for you. And then you're like, oh, this is like a high that people can't experience. But, as far as like preparation, look, we know all the songs. We know all the moves. We do the shows over and over again. But each night, it's unique because it's a new audience. So you want to present it in a new and exciting way, and it keeps things fresh for you. But the level of nervousness never changes, and I'm used to it now. Certainly, you go, okay, tonight I'm not going to be nervous. I'm used to it. But then you still find yourself having those butterflies and that sort of adrenaline rush, and so it's part of what comes with all of it.
Yeah, you said you know the songs, and sometimes I don't. You ever forget your own lyrics on the stage? I'm guilty all the time. Songs that I wrote, I forget the lyrics to. How about you guys?
Yeah, that's definitely happened. Sometimes there's some changed lyrics. Something
Any
gets
change
sung, but it's not necessarily the right words.
How about the notes? Anybody ever change the notes because they forgot the harmony, and the three other people look over like, "What are you saying?"
Yeah, I mean, all that, you know how all that stuff happens. They're like, these pauses, they're faux pas, or, sort of screw ups that everybody sort of recognizes, but, the show must go on, and you put your best foot forward and put on your best face, but you can kind of see everybody looking at each other out of the side of their eye. So, yeah, of course. I mean, and it happens all the time. It's not just once in a while. I mean, it happens all the time.
What's the craziest thing a fan has done for you guys, either on a stage or in personal life, if they saw you out? What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you from a fan? And they may be in the chat, so just be careful. Anyone ever pull you off stage?
We've had girls sneak into our hotel rooms. You know how that
goes.
How do
they do that?
Call it concierge, and they tip the concierge at whatever hotel. Find out where we're at. I mean, there have been times when you walk in the room for the first time when you get into a new city and there are girls in your room. I mean, that happened quite a bit back in the day. I mean, girls snuck onto the tour bus. I think we had girls sneak in on food carts. One time we had a girl pretending she was interviewing us, and she had a camera and everything and a lanyard and had no tape in the. We used to have these big tapes, and so we she was just some freaky stalker person. And then we had, back in the day, we used to have girls follow us for cities and cities and cities and months. We're like, how are they affording this?
Yeah.
You got to go to work at some point. We're going to work, so all of the, I mean, and the list goes on. I mean, we have some crazy, crazy stories we can't talk about. And then, just some average ones, from signing diapers at an autograph signing to, I mean, you name it. We've seen it. You've seen it. I mean, I'm sure Justin has his own story.
Sometimes fans think that they're supposed to be on the stage and just in the middle of the show and just randomly. And so sometimes you get an unexpected guest on stage. So that always makes things interesting.
And how do you respond to that when they come on stage? Do they grab at you, or do they just stand there and cry? What do they do?
There's different ones that have different reactions. You just, you just do your thing and have fun. And, you know that they don't mean any harm. They're just trying to have fun and caught up in the moment. And so, it's keeps it interesting for us.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, guys, I think we're going to take a couple of questions from a couple of fans who have been leaving a bunch of notes in the chat that you probably can't see. Meredith, if you're out there, go ahead and send us a couple of questions and we'll see if we can answer them. Appreciate you guys. Let's just take 1 second because there's a little delay from this room to the other room. But, or she's in the bathroom, which would really be bad. While we're waiting, another question I had for you. Have any of you guys been working on any kind of music? Any new music coming out from Solos or 98 Degrees?
Actually, we've been talking about doing some new music for a long time, and I think we're moving closer and closer to doing that. And so we are definitely about making new music, and now we're just trying to figure out some of the logistics and all of that, and kind of finalizing what we're going to record. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some new music coming out there, and so we're really excited to get back into the studio and do what we love to do.
What are the chances of 98 Degrees breaking from the norm and doing something totally unexpected versus doing what the fans want? I know that's always like the fight that artists sometimes have. It's like, I want to do something different, but the audience loves this and I want to give them this. What type of music do you guys want to do? Or is there a style that you want to try that you're afraid to try?
Well, I think it's look, we've tried to be more contemporary with regards to some of the lyrical content of some of our songs and tempo songs. We're known for ballads, and we've tried that, but we want to explore obviously production changes. So we want to explore some new production, but still stay true to ourselves, which are mostly mid-tempo songs, and certainly wouldn't mind doing something with some eloquent hooks if it is on a tempo song, or guest DJing, or having rappers and that sort of thing. But we've also, sort of maybe thought about doing some stuff with orchestras, or maybe doing a throwback album, a tribute to Motown records, or some jazz standards. I mean, we just love singing together. That's one thing we know for sure. Despite whatever our personalities and how different those are, and our experiences in the business, we know one thing's for sure: we love performing together, recording together, and then getting the reinforcement and feedback from our fans that it's worked for them and they felt it and it's done something for them in their lives. And so that we've had that gift, and we know we have that there for us. So always trying to sort of evolve as artists and create and be a little bit different, but we know what type of group we are, and we know where our lane is with regards to putting stuff out there that's successful.
Yeah, wasn't there a record you said you tried some different things with lyrics that were like really dirty lyrics to it? Am I thinking of another group? Or am I thinking of this? Was it you guys, right? Did I call you about it? What was the song?
We sang a song called Microphone, and we thought it was about singing on stage. I mean, whatever conclusions that people drew, in their own minds, we never said any of that stuff.
Yeah, but who puts a microphone in their mouth? Dirty minds. The lyrics? No.
The Wi-Fi is breaking up, Delious.
It turns out it was a double entendre, I guess, but we had no idea.
I don't even know what that is.
Your laughter says differently.
No, it was edgy. It was edgy and fun, and the song, we feel, is actually a hit. But it was so unexpected from us that we would even explore those things. Although people know we're guys, and we love the same things that all guys do. It's just once people have a certain lane and certain idea and image of you in their mind, it's really hard to for them to break and think of you in a different way. And so that was a bit, I guess, too edgy for what people expected from us, and it was off-brand for 98 Degrees. But nonetheless, we loved the song, and it was still fun recording it. And it's still in my in my top arsenal of songs we've done. I think it's a good one.
I pulled up the lyrics here just in case you guys forgot them, because I know you say you forget lyrics every now and then on stage. So
yeah,
I pulled up the lyrics here. Maybe you can walk us through some of these lyrics. I mean, it could just be someone teaching someone about music. When I'm done with you, you'll be able to carry a tune. I'm going to take you to school and teach you how to use a microphone, right? That could just be someone teaching somebody. I'll make you scream at the top of your lungs. I don't think that's good vocal training, though.
But projection, you know how important that is on stage. I mean, I often kind of get meek and mild with my falsetto. Projection, you got to use those lungs, screaming at the top of your lungs.
Right.
It wasn't meant literally.
Oh, not literally? Okay.
No.
Hey, lady, grab the microphone and say do re mi fa so oh. Yeah, baby, you warmed up and ready to blow.
Yeah, this when you're watching people get up and perform on open mic night. You go, man, that dude can blow.
Right. Okay, well, I guess it was just my dirty mind. You guys have explained it away very well. It was clearly about recording 101 in the studio and teaching someone how to make a hit record. My bad. I apologize to you. Meredith, you got another question for us up there? Would you consider doing a virtual concert? Now, you guys have been doing a couple of virtual things online, harmonizing and giving the fans a little bit to tide them over. How about a full virtual concert?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we'd love to get together. We're looking forward to making some new music. And, I think we're definitely, when we do get together, we also like to perform as well. So, and we know that we miss our fans, and hopefully they're missing us. So, we'd love to really get stuff out there, and hopefully we'll get back to regular concerts sooner than later. But in the meantime, I think that's very possible and something that fans might see in the future.
Okay, cool. You got another question for us, Meredith? Is there anything that you guys like to do or get to relax and release the tension before going on stage? Wait, did I read that right? Is there anything that you guys like to do or get to relax and release the tension? I'm afraid what that question is asking, but I'll let you. I don't know if there's another
You
double.
probably have a dirty mind.
Song. Is it another song?
No, you know what? We're known to have a couple of beers before we get on stage. You know what I mean? You know, that helps relax you a little bit. Not that we're not advocates of going out there and drinking too much, right, Justin? We're not about any of that kind of stuff. A couple of drinks before you get out there to keep yourself loose and ready to go. Of course, meditation, stretching. There were times we had venues that supplied a masseuse, which was pretty amazing.
Wow.
You know,
is that for the dance moves and make sure you don't strain with the what's called?
Right. That's right.
Yeah, it takes a toll on your body, Darius.
Actually, you guys have danced in your Una Noche video. You actually did a lot of dancing in Una Noche, didn't you?
No.
I don't think so.
No. You're
that must have been the karaoke version.
I don't know. I mean,
Vida Loca.
Yeah,
I'm thinking you guys are Ricky Martin. Is that what it is?
Definitely not us.
We pretend to dance. We fake dance.
You fake dance?
It's smoke and mirrors. We're not really dancers.
Who's the worst? Who's the last person to pick up choreography? Who's the worst?
Probably takes me the longest, but once I get it, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Once I got it.
It didn't used to be that way. Like I was lands behind everybody else, but I worked really hard at it. Uh-huh. So I'm towards the bottom, but it's not always a guarantee that I'm the worst one or the slowest to pick it up.
Leah, our choreographer deemed him dance captain, so I think that says it all. Yeah, we all know who the Dancing Stars champion is, so we won't mention any of that. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not the best dancers.
Would you guys ever do that? I know Drew has done. Nick and Drew have done it both, right? Dance with the Stars. Would you guys ever do Dance with the Stars? You can't say that you're the worst dancers because I've seen some pretty bad ones on that show. If asked, would you guys do it? Take the challenge?
Definitely. I would love to try the opportunity. I mean, certainly I know my bandwidth with regards to my talent level in dancing. So I don't think I'd be a champion like our brother Drew is, or even make it. Did Nick make it past the first round? Yeah, I think he made it past the first or second round. But I'd love to give it a shot just to have the challenge and see if I could do it.
I think you'd be great, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, I'd do it, if they called, but I don't expect to get a call.
All right, we'll take one more question, Meredith. Let's see here. Maybe she doesn't have one more over here. There it is. Jeff, you recently had an interview with a member of Day 6. Any K-pop collaborations possible?
Look, I'm definitely trying to make some of that stuff happen. I'm a big fan of a lot of those bands. Day 6, Monster X. I mean, certainly, BTS those guys are legends, and there are a ton of emerging ones that have super talented guys involved. I mean, look, they have some really cool music, and it's not just to hop onto the bandwagon and be a part of K-pop. Culture is really cool. Obviously, I'm sure Delious, that a lot of the guys from our era, like Teddy Riley and that whole camp, are really responsible for a lot of those. They're bringing back old elements of stuff that we love, like New Jack Swing, and the format of those songs is really interesting. Exciting. And look, I've been talking to Jay from Day 6 and some of those other people about the possibility of doing that, as well as some, I had a chance to be to India a couple of years ago, and there's some massive artists there. I mean, this guy Badshaw, who was a big fan of 98 Degrees and let me know when I was there. I mean, this guy gets on average of, 500 million views on each of his YouTube videos, and he's just so cool and got such a great style. So I think those international collaborations are something we really never got a chance to explore when we were on Motown and then subsequently Universal, that I think those are out there for us. And now, since there are no real rules anymore, and the flexibility with the internet, your ability to connect with people, I think that just might be a cool possibility in the future.
Cool. I have a question for you. When it's all said and done, whenever you guys decide to retire or to hang it all up, what do you want the 98 Degrees legacy to be?
I think that, I think our music will, speak for itself. And I think that, we're proud to, a lot of people in the industry know us as being hardworking guys that are easy to get along with, to treat people with respect, whether they're, deemed important people that can make a difference in our career, or just people that are, just whatever level. And I think that that's really important, and no matter what it is that you do to be successful, is to be kind to others, and to treat people with respect, and to do what you're passionate about if you're lucky enough to be able to do it. And that's if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah, that's the truth. Well, would there be another political office run for you all, Justin?
No, I don't have any plans to run for political office, but I do try to stay engaged, in the community, and am involved with different efforts. I mostly focus on ballot initiatives and things like that, and issue causes more than, I don't really have a huge desire to be in office, but I think it's important now more than ever for people to be engaged, and to try to make a difference in their community. And there's a saying that I think is very true, that all politics is local. So get involved.
Yeah. And Jeff, you always have something going on. Is there anything that you want to highlight to the audience about a new venture or project that you're working on?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, so I'm working with a good team of people that produce podcasts. I mean, we're all doing it. Why not? I can tell you really love this and are thriving in this space, and certainly, have the gift of gab, always talking. So I have a podcast that's probably going to be hitting the scenes in early October, with a great group of people, and some really great interviews in the can so far, and everything from professional wrestlers to boy band guys to social influencers, you name it. So really excited about that, and really ready to get going with 98 Degrees. I mean, you asked about new music. It's something that we truly are exploring, and absolutely ready to get back into the mix and start performing for everybody, whether it be a virtual concert. And, if it is, we want to make sure we deliver the best quality possible. And I'm sure you're going through this with your group. There are a ton of platforms, but it's not the best, developed stuff yet out there. But, if that exists and there's a way for us to get out there before we get out there in the flesh and in real life, we'll do that too.
I think there is. I'm thinking some people are missing the boat, because when I first heard that Garth Brooks was doing a drive-in show, I was like, brilliant. I didn't realize it was a film thing that was just showing at drive-ins. I'm like, halfway brilliant. But why couldn't you actually do a drive-in show at, say, like Dodger Stadium? Set up the big stage at the end of the Dodger Stadium. You know how big that place is. Cars come in, screens everywhere, and jam out like a concert. People are still in their cars or beside their cars, and it's live music still. It's not on a screen. I'm like, you can do that.
I think they've been trying that, but the problem is when people go out there, and if you add alcohol into the mix, people aren't staying socially distanced. And when you have promoters that, for example, Live Nation has lost a ton of money this year. And so, the last thing they want to do is go out there and push to have live shows, and then it not be safe, and then, be liable or responsible for people contracting COVID, even if it's, they're not behaving responsible. So it's that fine line of making sure everybody's safe, and you can do it the right way, and also delivering the quality that you want. I mean, we had been offered a couple of those opportunities, but it's such an unknown out there that you don't want anybody to be at risk. Sure, we want to get out there and get in front of our fans, of course, make money and do what we love, but it's more important to us to make sure that everybody's safe in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, dang, an hour kind of went by really fast. So we're kind of closing the show down. I appreciate you guys coming on board Flashback tonight. Now, normally, as I said earlier, we have a live studio audience, and it's in North Hollywood. But right now, during COVID, we're doing one-on-one virtually. But hopefully, when we get out of this COVID state and we go back to our in-live studio audience, I'm hoping you guys can come back and treat the audience to your presence, because it's a different vibe in front of a live studio audience than it is on here. And I'm sure they would love to see you guys. And if you can pull along the brothers with you, it'd be great to have the 4 of you there. But if not, it'd be great to have the 2 of you guys in the live audience as well. So hopefully you guys can do that in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, and definitely look forward to coming back.
Love you, man. Thank you so much for bringing us on, and congrats on this. It's just great, and thanks for the refreshing questions, and thanks to all the fans out there that joined us tonight. We totally appreciate you guys. We miss you. We love you, and hopefully we'll see you sooner than later. So be safe, and thanks again, man. Appreciate you.
No worries. All right, that brings us to an end of Flashback tonight. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Check out our other great interviews with a lot of big name stars and a lot of performances down and below, and we'll check you out on the next one. Good night.